Hello cloud gamers, welcome back to the channel and thank you for joining me today. I'm super excited for today's pre-recorded show I'm finally able to share with you guys. Please do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done already. Also feel free to drop a comment. So let's get right into it everybody. Today we're going to talk about everybody's favorite complaint. 30 FPS game releases on Stadia. And the possible reasons why. Okay, so everybody, first I want to make sure you understand this is just my opinion. I don't claim them to be facts, so just consume them wisely, and like I always say, you're welcome to respond in the comments down below on your thoughts. So with that being said, let me tell you a few of my thoughts. So in my opinion, one of the biggest reasons why we were seeing quite a few games being released at 30 FPS during the last year all relates to what I was saying in regards to the rollout issues. So I'm hoping you'll remember the first 2 points that I made in that video. And what they were in reference to. The rising hardware cost and the diminishing supply of employees at all of the world's developers. So both of those are definitely directly related to the games being limited to 30 FPS, and let me explain why. It was not a hardware issue, that's clear to everybody. One single Stadia instance has more than enough power to push the games beyond 30 FPS, that's a no-brainer. So if the hardware is clearly powerful enough to exceed 30 FPS, and I'm claiming it's a hardware problem, that might leave you scratching your head. So let me elaborate a little further. The problem was not the capabilities of the hardware, it was the supply line once again. You see, with Google having their hands tied because of hardware shortages and rising costs, it reduced their ability to expand the data centers, along with bandwidth being in short supply because of YouTube constraints. So Google had to have some sort of solution to this problem. Even though millions and millions of people weren't joining Stadia, the people that were joining were enough of a load for them to handle, along with everything else that was going on, like I said, with YouTube at maximum capacity and the internet itself. And their dedication to quality control, especially for lag and game crashes, things like that. So I believe they chose to have the initial release of some games to be kept at 30 FPS. So if you just consider that as a possibility and then tie it to the fact that the developers were clearly short-staffed and Stadia was at the bottom of everybody's list, it just makes sense that this was the results. Financially, 30 FPS was certainly better than nothing, and I think that's the way Google was thinking about it. I truly believe they are determined to keep the price of Pro locked at $10 for many years to come, offering that along with the free service as their claim to fame. So they stuck to their guns and stayed under budget because they knew throwing money out the window is not the solution to most problems. They made the wise and patient choice. And instead of getting in the habit of just paying this developer 10 million and the next developer 10 million, they knew that would be a disaster to get something like that started. You know, the old saying goes, old habits are hard to break. So they restructured the funds accordingly and financed the development of the low-change porting tools, along with other things I'm sure they haven't even announced to us yet. So guys, with all this being said, in my conclusion, I have serious doubts that we will continue to see any more games being released at 30 FPS other than older games or indie games, obviously, but the newer games and the day and days should now be safe in my eyes.